When Snoop was asked about the Clippers, the JV team to most LA natives back in January on Stephen A's World, he had this to say.
Laker to a Clipper, man, I can't be faded. Come on, man. We talking about the Clippers, the team that has 0 banners, that are the opening night champions for 14 years straight, have no banners, no nothing. Kawhi is a great player. Paul George is a great player. They got great coaches and the homies on their team. They do a great job, but they're not the Lakers, man. It's just something about that purple and gold, man. And it's like they need to get a whole new stadium and get a whole new stigma because they're never going to win playing in our living room.
Gotta be Gucci's with the bees. But last night, after his Lakers got embarrassed in Phoenix, he posted this gem on IG and had me dying. Look at the last line. Never thought I'd say it, but we're sorry. The Clippers better than us. Frank Vogel can't coach, and why the F Montrezl Harrell isn't getting no run. This is heartbreaking. AD hurt more than Mary J. Blige records. We saw. Q, not gonna cry. Clippers Mavs all tied up at Game 2, a pivotal Game 5 tonight at Staples Center. Kawhi is 3rd in points per game this postseason, averaging 33. Keep in mind, Kawhi is from California. Stephen A. Does Kawhi have the best chance to become the king of L.A.?
The best chance to become the king of L.A.? No. They haven't won anything yet. Last time I checked, LeBron has the ring. He's the reigning, defending NBA champion. And even if he loses Thursday night or Saturday, it does not mean that the Clippers win. I will say this, however. Snoop Dogg, by the way, for both of y'all to know, Snoop Dogg couldn't make it on the show this morning because he's filming a movie in Atlanta, Georgia, as we speak. So he couldn't get loose to come on First Take this morning. That's why he's not here. But he did send me a text that wanted to elaborate further on the quote that he put on Instagram. Quote, Lakers, too many non-shooters, soft-ass guards in our rotation, can't guard, can't shoot. We doomed. Clippers may come out of the West, and I wouldn't even be mad at this point. If Kawhi and PG-13 faced Brooklyn for it all, popcorn, get it ready. Yep. That's what he said. So I understand where he's coming from. I understand how we looking at the Clippers, but I would remind y'all that Damian Lillard dude that we just finished talking about, they still alive. Jokic, who you were talking about earlier, they still alive. And by the way, the Utah Jazz, even though Memphis is still alive, we expect Utah to win that series with a healthy Donovan Mitchell. They the favorites. So let's not forget all of those things as we sit here and talk about Kawhi as the king of L.A. Just because the Lakers are out don't make you the king. You got to win.
The answer is, does Kawhi have the best chance to replace LeBron as the king of L.A. is yes. Yes, he does. He has the best chance. I may have been a year early on my LeBron decline prediction and Kawhi taking over prediction. And this is not like, will the Clippers flip L.A.? That'll never happen. That could happen with the Knicks and the Nets. You know why? The Knicks don't have the same equity in this town. They haven't won in so long. Lakers got crazy equity in L.A. They've given that city more glory and championships than anybody. That town's never going to be a Clippers town over a Lakers town. But, Stephen A., we know this is true. And Molly, you've lived in L.A., I've lived in L.A., and Stephen A., you're out there all the time. Lakers fans and, say, Kobe fans are not always the same thing. Right? There's a big overlap, but there are people who are just Kobe fans.
Yeah.
There are Lakers fans who, if the Lakers are sorry and the Clippers are a powerhouse, will root for Kawhi and Paul George, especially since they're from there. So will they flip the town the way the Nets are about to flip New York? Because the Knicks have been sorry for so long. That's never going to happen in L.A. Clippers will never flip it. But dudes like Kawhi and Paul George, yes, they can run the town, even if they're not on the Lakers, because they'll be hometown heroes who are balling in the absence of the Lakers' presence. So, yeah, Kawhi could become king of L.A. That could happen.
I got you. I just think to be the king, you've got to have a crown. You got to have a crown.
Yeah, you're going to have to win.
You can't be the king just because LeBron loses. You got to win.
You're going to have to win.
Let me just say one thing, and I haven't lived in L.A. in a while, but I lived there about 4 years. And Stephen A., get in on this. When Max says that he knows Lakers fans that if the Lakers are out would root for the Clippers. I do not know any. Any Laker fan I know is so
Neither do I.
diehard for the purple.
No, I didn't say Clippers. Kawhi and Paul George.
I don't know that.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
you may
All
have
Lakers
corrected
fans
yourself,
I
but
know.
you originally said the Clippers.
Yeah, I've never heard of a Lakers fan that would also root for Kawhi and Paul George or the Clippers. Ever.
What would Snoop say if they play Brooklyn? Get the popcorn. Who do you think Snoop be pulling for?
No, he didn't say he'd root for the Clippers. He just said that they would be in the position, and he can't be mad because he's so disgusted at the Lakers. I didn't
Snoop's
read
gotta
you
come on
anything
and
that
answer
said
that.
he'd root for the Clippers.
Yeah.
Snoop's got to come on and answer that. He didn't say
All
he
right,
wouldn't
then create the question. Don't act like he said it when he didn't.
All right, so the Clippers have turned things around behind some stellar play by Kawhi, who's averaged over 35 while shooting over 70% from the field the last 3 games. Hey now, Kawhi, first player to average 35 points while shooting 70% over a 3-game span in the playoffs since the shot clock era began in the 50s. Max Kellerman, are you no longer concerned about your boy Kawhi and those Clippers?
I've never been concerned about Kawhi. Kawhi, as I keep saying, is one of the greatest postseason performers ever. Ever. There are very few who have ever played who are as good under pressure as Kawhi. No, I'm never worried about Kawhi. He's just not a point forward. He's not a point guard. He's a scoring 2 or 3. That's what he does. He'll make everyone around him better. He's an offensive and defensive weapon, and he's twice been the best player on championship teams, 2 different franchises. I've never been worried about Kawhi, Stephen A. I was worried about Ty Lue because I couldn't understand. Adjustments needed to be made, right? And I couldn't understand why Rondo is getting 19, 20 minutes a game. And I thought that was the adjustment Ty Lue was going to make. It wasn't. Rondo got his same 19, 20 minutes. And by the way, he was his same excellent self, like Rondo is playoff Rondo, whether you play him for 30 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. He's excellent. But Ty Lue did make an adjustment. He went small. Batum got the lion's share of the minutes that were going to bigs before. And that made the difference. Luka being hurt, obviously, but Ty Lue's adjustment made the difference. Kawhi is not that kind of player. He's not. You could say, well, LeBron could be like a coach. That's not Kawhi. He's not a point forward. He's not going to run your offense. He's going to do Kawhi, which is basically never miss a shot and play great defense. That's what he does. I'm not worried about him. It's Ty Lue, and he showed something last night.
I was scared because I got love for Ty Lue and his coaching staff because I've known them for years. I was scared, and I love me some Paul George as a person just as much as a player. I was scared to death. Clippers about to get swept. I like, you got to win game, but I knew because I texted Michael Irvin. I saw him sitting in the suite, and I saw him in there, and I said, oh, they're going to lose this game. I said, they're going to lose this game. The minute I saw all them damn Cowboys in there, I said, Dallas ain't winning this game.
What is wrong with you?
I said, I'm not right. Dak Prescott was in attendance. Michael Irvin was in the suite.
You know his nickname's the Playmaker, right?
Well, yeah, that's why. I said, you don't show up to the Dallas Mavericks. Don't contaminate them people like that. Don't do that. That's what happened. But I will tell you this. Charles Barkley's right. I don't think the Dallas Mavericks are winning another game this series. And I went from being scared that the Clippers were on the verge of getting swept to saying Dallas Mavericks ain't going to win another game this series. Here's why. Kawhi looks sensational over the last 2 games. And he did something that I wanted him to do, which he called on the team to just clamp down, be better defensively, spoke up. That's a good thing, galvanizing the troops. Remember, I've never complained about his numbers, never complained about his ability, is that ability to lead, which LeBron and others have done, which I thought he was sorely lacking. All right, still got something to prove in that regard, but it is what it is. Kristaps Porzingis, I don't want to hear another word about him. He's just not that dude. He's just not that dude. I mean, 7 points last night. 18 points last night, 7 points in game 3, 18 meaningless points last night. You're minus 21 when you're on the court. Luka Doncic has nerve damage in his neck. I don't know how you get over that in the next week. Nerve damage in your neck. And I appreciated Charles.
That hurts me, you just saying it.
I appreciated Shaq giving him props for playing hurt the way that he did. We really should appreciate Luka being out there and really
doing what he could do, whatever he could do.
I mean, you could see it was a struggle for him to lift his head up. It was a struggle for him to lift his head up. He was hurting that bad, but he had no help. And then that brings me to Dallas. And anybody that knows me knows I go back a very long ways with Rick Carlisle, who I got a lot of love for. We've known Mark Cuban for years. We got a lot of love for Mark Cuban. He's a friend of this show. I got to say this about them. If you lose these playoffs, it will be 6 times in the last 10 years since you won the title, since you beat LeBron and D-Wade to Miami, Mac, in 2010, 2011. It's been 10 years. This year, if you lose in the first round, it will mark the 6th time you've been bounced out in the first round. And the other 4 times you never even made the playoffs. I mean, damn. We just gonna sit there and just ignore that?
I think
we just gonna gloss over that? Over the last 10 years, 4 no appearances and 6 first round exits. And that's it. At some point in time, we got to sit up there and say, Rick Carlisle, Mark Cuban, what's up with that?
Look,
what's up with that?